Lions got a big Thursday night game coming up on Amazon Prime. We got the Dallas Cowboys in town for one of the Dallas Cowboys' good 7 or 8 primetime games a year because the Cowboys always get constantly shoved down everybody's throats. So yeah, we got to deal with America's overrated team this weekend, this Thursday night. So let's take a look at this matchup and see how the Lions stack up against the Cowboys. So, of course, for the point spread for this game, Detroit currently enters this game as 3-point favorites over Dallas. So, it's going to expect to be a close game. Dallas, they lead the all-time series over Detroit 19-13. Of course, Detroit won the meeting against Dallas last year in Jerry World. First time the Lions and Cowboys take battle in Detroit. Of course, Dallas this year, they're 2-4 on the road this year. Detroit is 4-2 at home this year. In terms of offensive players for the Cowboys, well, of course, at QB, you have Dak Prescott, one of the most overrated QBs in the league. I mean, I think a lot of people keep forgetting that he's been in the league for nearly 10 years. And the fact that he's a 4th-round pick. I'll say this, despite that, though, despite him being overrated, Dak is one of the few examples of that drafting a QB in the 1st round or top 5 or 1st overall doesn't mean fucking anything. And also drafting a player high in the draft order doesn't mean jack shit. It just means higher expectations. And Dak is an example that you can find talent anywhere literally in the draft if you have the right people calling the shots and how much of a total crapshoot the draft is. Just to shut up that little tanking crowd, since there are some Lions fans that want the Lions to tank the rest of the year, which honestly, you all just sound like a bunch of jackasses when you say that. So, of course, for the running back duo, you got Jaden Blue and Javonte Williams anchoring that running back backfield for the Cowboys. The receiving core, well, they don't have the diva George Pickens is questionable for this game with a calf injury. That would be quite the loss if he's not available. But they do got other playmakers in that receiving core. Of course, that's anchored, of course, by one of the top receivers in the game in CeeDee Lamb. You also got Jalen Tolbert, Cavonte Turpin, Jonathan Mingo. You also got tight ends in Jake Ferguson and Luke Schoonmaker. Of course, the defensive line is, of course, anchored by trade deadline acquisition Quinnen Williams. You also got Dante Fowler, Sam Williams, Donovan Eziruka. Okay, Aku. That last name's a bit of a tongue twister there. But, of course, as we all know with the Cowboys culture, it doesn't matter if you could say their last name properly or not, because Jerry Jones does not care about that. If you can play football, then the Cowboys want you. You also got Oza Odig Hizuma, another tongue twister last name, but like I said, it don't matter if people can say that a player's last name right or not. As long as they can play football, the Cowboys want you. And also same deal with George Pickens, despite his diva antics and him always wanting to start fights and start shit. Because that's all George Pickens is a diva. But of course, Dallas does not care about character issues. You can be a total diva malcontent all you want. As long as you can play football, then the Cowboys want you. And of course, the linebacking core, you got the other trade deadline acquisition of Logan Wilson from the Bengals. You also got Kenneth Murray, Shamar James, and Devarian Overshown. Of course, I should mention for the D-line, they used to have Marshawn Kneeland back there until a couple weeks ago when he tragically passed away after taking his own life. Which I haven't said anything about that yet, but I will now since I was waiting for this game to do this. So I do want to say one thing to the Cowboys Nation and the Cowboys fan base is I do send my thoughts and prayers and condolences to Marshawn Kneeland and his family and all his friends too. You know, it's honestly Marshawn's just an example that life's too short and precious, that you should always cherish your time with your loved ones, and that you should always seek help if you're dealing with mental health issues. You're never alone in these things. People need to feel that they're not alone in these things when you're dealing with mental demons. Young man taken away too soon. And of course, continuing on to the secondary, there's also, Siobhan Rever for the linebacking core. The secondary, well, Trayvon Diggs, he was on the IR for a concussion and a knee injury, but he's currently questionable as he's eligible to come off the IR. And there have been a lot of reports saying that he could be good to go for the game Thursday night, so we could see Trayvon Diggs make his return Thursday night. But even if he doesn't, they still got some names in the secondary like DeRon Bland. They also got Donovan Wilson and Malik Hooker in there too. Of course, the head coach of this squad is Brian Schottenheimer, who is a second-gen head coach because he is the son of former NFL head coach Marty Schottenheimer. And I'll be honest about Brian. Brian, honestly, is not really that much special. He's honestly just another yes-man ass-kisser for Jerry Jones. Because if there's one thing we learned about Jerry Jones the last 30 years, ever since the Civil War beef between him and Jimmy Johnson, the football coach, not the NASCAR driver. But there's one thing we learned from Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson's beef. It's that Jerry Jones will never hire somebody better than him. He will, like every head coach he's had since the Jimmy Johnson firing, has always been a yes-man patsy that will always bend over and kiss Jerry Jones' ass. I mean, one example of it, just look at Jason Garrett. Why do you think he was allowed to stay as long as he did? Because he kept kissing Jerry's ass. And the moment he stopped kissing Jerry's ass was the moment Jerry told him to fuck right off. But anyway, and I honestly give Schottenheimer maybe 3-4 years. Like, really the amount of time he holds that job for, it depends on how much he kisses Jerry Jones' ass, since he's just another yes-man puppet for Jerry Jones. Like, he's just a patsy for Jerry. He's just a yes-man that will do whatever Jerry tells him to do. And we all know the only way Brian will ever get fired is if he stops kissing Jerry's ass. The moment he stops doing that, that will be when Schottenheimer gets told to fuck off and go away. In terms of other key coaches on the staff, you got offensive coordinator Quayne Adams, and then the defensive coordinator is Matt Eberflus. Yeah, the former Chicago Bears head coach that doesn't know what the fuck a timeout is. So, of course, for the Lions defense, they'll have a tough time with the Cowboys offense, as the Dallas Cowboys have arguably the number one offense in the league in terms of yards. They're number one in the pass game, but the Cowboys' main blemish in their offense is the run game, as they're 13th running the ball on offense. The Cowboys' defense is a whole different story. They're a bottom 4 defense, ranked 29th. They're 30th against the pass, but oddly enough, they're top 20 against the run and 20th. So they can stop the run decently sometimes, but passing game is where they get mismatched, though. And of course, Lions, they're going to have a bit of an uphill battle, as Amon-Ra St. Brown's most likely out for this game after his ankle injury. So I think the keys to winning this game, though, is you got to find a way to shut CeeDee Lamb down. You know, the secondary's got to try and find a way to take CeeDee Lamb out of this game, since CeeDee Lamb's going to get a lot of targets in this game. I think getting pressure to Dak and trying to pressure him is going to be key, too. And we all know this is going to be a big game for Aiden Hutchinson, because keep in mind, this matchup against Dallas a year ago, this was the game where Aiden's leg snapped in two last year. So there's a game for Aiden to get right back in it. This would be the one. I think Aiden's been waiting since this game for over a year, because this was where he got injured a year ago. Over a year ago, since the game against Dallas last year was like in October last year. Now we're in the start of December. But yeah, I think getting pressure to Dak is pretty key. Like, you get pressure to Dak, he'll fold like a graham cracker. And offensively, establishing the run, get that run game going. Because even though the Cowboys' run game is okay, it is not the same ever since they traded Micah Parsons and fucked that whole deal up. Which, that's odd how they fucked that whole deal up on Micah Parsons, especially considering Micah had some character issues coming out of Penn State in college. And the main reason he got drafted by Jerry Jones and the Cowboys is because it does not matter if you have character issues, even if you're a borderline generational talent. If you can play football, the Cowboys want you. until you ask for way too much goddamn money, and then you're forced to trade him with no leverage. So, yeah. So, I think establishing the run there. Well, I think for receiving, well, in terms of pass game, well, I think Jamo's going to need to have a big game. I think Isaac Tesla needs to be more involved and needs to have a big game, too. So, I think getting the ball to him and to Tesla and Jamo's going to be good, too. Maybe have Jahmyr Gibbs in there for the receiving game, too. Like, said, Jahmyr Gibbs is really good in receiving and rushing and passing. So I think really isolating with those three, like pretty much somebody needs to step up Sunday to get this thing back on track. And I should also mention that this game is also, the Lions are wearing the white uniforms, as of course this will be a whiteout game. Especially with the Lions encouraging the fans to all wear white Thursday night. So yeah, good time to do a whiteout game. And I know before some fans say that they're against this idea, I say it's why not? Green Bay and Minnesota do it every year. Why not us? So yeah, it's pretty cool the Lions are finally doing a whiteout game. Too bad, it's too bad they're not going to have white logo, the white Lions logo on their helmet, or a white logo at midfield. Like, that would like really be cool if you were gonna go all in with the whole whiteout thing. Maybe have white outer walls too. But like, if you're gonna do a whiteout game, you need to make the Lions logo white. Just like I did with the thumbnail for this video, which that actually isn't a white Lions logo. I just happened to find like some kind of bumper sticker for it. But I was able to crop out the white line to make it work. So yeah. See, and of course, I know a lot of people are taking the Cowboys, and I know Skip Bayless talking about how he thinks the Cowboys are better than the Lions. Which, honestly, I don't really give a shit about what Skip Bayless says. Skip Bayless is fucking garbage. Like, I don't know how that fucking mouth breather still has a goddamn show on FS1. Like, he's just he's fucking trash. I don't know how anybody puts up with his bullcrap. Plus, he's a biased Cowboys bootlicker, too, so that should tell you everything you need to know about Skip Bayless. I don't take anything he says seriously. I never have. Why would I start now? But of course, the big theme coming in is, every time the Lions have lost the game and got punched in the mouth, they've always bounced back. Well, except against the Giants, but they got lucky because the Giants decided to derp the game away. But outside that, the Lions have always bounced back every time they got punched in the mouth. And of course, this is going to be a big game too. We all know what happened last year when the Lions dropped nearly 50 points on them. Here's the thing, though. That ain't the same. That's not going to be the same Cowboys team we see Thursday night. If everyone thinks we're just going to go in and drop 50 on them again, you're going to be gravely mistaken. It's not going to be that kind of game. Like, I think this is going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a defensive game. Mainly because of the Lions' inconsistencies on offense. But I think that Kelvin Shepherd, he's taking a lot of fault for the defensive struggles the last couple weeks. And I think Kelvin Shepherd's going to want to have a big game for the Lions. So, I think defense is going to have a big game. Especially after the last couple weeks. I think they're going to be looking for redemption. And the Cowboys will be a good time to do it. Since a lot of people have been hyping up the Cowboys, because that's what the media does every year, is always hype up the fucking Cowboys. And the Cowboys are the most overrated and overhyped team in the league. They get shoved down everybody's fucking throats every year. And it will be good to come home Thursday night and punch the Cowboys right in the mouth and tell the Cowboy bootlickers to go away. Like, big game, of course, in terms of playoff seeding, because both the Lions and Cowboys are in the hunt for that 7th wild card. And keep in mind, San Francisco is on the bye this week. So if Detroit wins this game, they would fall only one game behind San Francisco in the wild card standings. Of course, if Dallas wins, they're a game and a half out. So, still a lot, or about a half game, maybe. Actually, it'd be a game and a half. So, of course, big game for playoff implications for both teams to try and stay alive in the playoff race. Like, this is easy. Like, honestly, the Lions' last 5 games are all must-win games. Then again, every game from week 1 to week 18 is a must-win game. Like, you always should be striving to win all 17 games. Like, if you're not striving to win all 17 games, then what the hell are we doing here? But yeah, Lions, like, the Lions need to bounce back. They need to bounce back in a big way after the last couple of weeks of struggling a lot. Like, the Lions need to get some consistency going. And they need to stop this goddamn pattern of losing a game, winning a game, wash, rinse, repeat. Like, they need to start stringing some wins together. And usually the Lions have traditionally done well in the month of December under Dan Campbell. And if the Lions want to have any chance of making the postseason this year, they're going to need another strong December once again. All I say is that the Lions are actually serious about doing something this year and making some noise in February and January. You got 5 games left. Make them count. And if you get some outside help, okay. But of course, it all starts with Dallas this Thursday night. Gotta beat the Cowboys, silence the media, since a lot of media's already turned on Detroit, which honestly, I don't fucking care. That's honestly not surprising. I knew the media would always turn on Detroit at the first sign of trouble. Like I've said before, anybody that doubts us doesn't fucking know us. Now let's go get this win Thursday night against the Cowboys. Let's shut the Cowboy fans up. Because that fan base is also extremely annoying and overrated as well. Like, everything about the Cowboys franchise is overrated. From Dak, to Skip Bayless, to the team itself, to the fan base. Everything about the Dallas Cowboys is overrated. So, let's take care of business against this overrated team. And let's get the win and get the 8-5. And try and get a little closer in that playoff race. 5 games left. Let's make them count. Anyway, that's all I gotta say. And let's make sure that the Cowboys get covered in something else that's white after Thursday. No homo. Go Lions.